Welcome to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Prashant, Sabapathi, and Ozer Culhagil of Elite Income Advisors. Prashant, how are you today?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you for asking. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm always excited to have you both in the studio. And Ozer, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking.
It's so good to have both of you in the studio today because obviously we've been talking about a lot of things that are happening in the world right now, a lot of things obviously for planning for retirement. One thing I'd like to talk to you about today would be the Secure Act 2.0.
Yeah.
What exactly is it, and how does it affect retirees?
Yeah, so there was an update to the original Secure Act. So if you remember, the very first Secure Act took the required minimum distribution age from 70 and a half up to 72 years old.
Okay.
And so the Secure Act 2.0 passed at the end of 2022 as a part of the omnibus bill. And so what happened was they actually increased that age once again. So instead of having to take your required distribution at 72 years old, that age has now been pushed to 73 years old. And within the next 10 years or so, what will happen is it will eventually go to 75 years old. And so I think this creates an enormous opportunity for a lot of folks out there. So a lot of people will probably hear this and say, opportunity, what are we talking about? It just got moved by 1 year. But I think what's really important is understanding that there's an expiration of our current tax code that's coming at the end of 2025. And that's so important because by the end of 2025, we have no idea what's going to happen with tax rates. I think we all kind of think that taxes will probably go up.
Right.
But with the RMD age, required minimum distribution age, getting pushed 1 year, it gives us an extra year where we can proactively plan for how we can potentially reduce our future tax bill. So many folks come in to visit with us and they say, what if taxes go up to 32, 35, 37, 40% in the future?
Yeah.
How is that going to affect my income when I get to retirement? I mean, remember, the higher taxes are, the less income is going to ultimately be in your pocket. By them extending this RMD age out just another year, it gives us a very valuable opportunity to do some proactive tax planning to reduce your future tax bills. I'm talking about things like Roth conversions. I'm talking about things like using Section 7702 of the tax code, which actually uses a life insurance to reduce your future potential tax bill on some of your growth of your assets moving forward. So great opportunity that's presenting itself right now.
And that's tax code 7702?
Yeah, 7702.
Very interesting. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know about this. Ozzy's actually a specialist in this type of thing. So I know that you've been doing this, you've been telling me stories. You've been using this thing a lot, right?
Yeah,
lately.
let's talk about that.
A lot lately. Most of the people, they are trying to find out how can we save more money after taxes. So some of our clients, they are still working. They do make good money, and they maxed out their retirement accounts at their employers. Then when they come home, like we talk about the numbers, if they bring $12,000 and if they need is like $6,000, so what are we going to do with the rest of the $6,000?
Right.
And they cannot do a Roth contribution because they make a
too
lot
much
of money.
yeah.
So that's not available. So when Prashant talked about the 7702, there is some still stuff out there that people can put money after tax and it can grow tax deferred and they can still do tax-free income at their retirement.
Wow.
There is more complex, obviously, going into that, but there is another way. I just did with one of our clients, they had a huge surplus in their portfolio, and we put like $5,000 a month into this product. So when they go to the retirement age, somewhere around 12 to 14 years later, they're going to be able to withdraw, somewhere around $10,000 a month tax-free.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Tax-free. I mean, everyone loves hearing that, tax-free.
Yeah.
And
I do like it.
I know, right? And I'm also thinking with the Secure Act changes, I would say 2.0, it's so much easier to remember to claim your benefit, if you will, at 72 versus 70 and a half. But what happens, Prashant, if someone forgets to collect their RMD?
Yeah, so previously there was a penalty of, wait for it, 50%, 50%
Wow.
for a missed RMD. So for example, if you had to take out a required minimum of $20,000 and you neglected it or you forgot to do it, you would have to take that $20,000, then you'd have to take an extra $10,000 as a penalty. And by the way, all of that counts as income, which could increase your tax bracket, increase the amount that you're paying for Medicare, you know, so many different effects of that missed RMD. So the good thing is, with the Secure Act 2.0, they've taken that 50% penalty and they've scaled it down to 25%. There's even some cases where if you rectify it in a timely fashion, that penalty will go down as low as 10% in some cases. You'll want to consult with a qualified tax advisor in conjunction with your retirement specialist, which is what we help our clients with all the time. But there's some leniency built in. But the best thing to do is just not incur the penalty to begin with.
Right.
And you do that by making sure that you're planning appropriately. And so when we talk about the RMDs, Nick, who's been on the show several times, he keeps a running list of all of our clients that are RMD eligible. So if you have to take an RMD for this year, you'd come in to visit with us and your advisor, Nick, myself, Ozzy, and we'd walk you through an actual systematic plan for how you're going to take that money out in the most tax efficient way possible and from the best places in your retirement portfolio. Maybe we're taking it from your safe money, maybe we're taking it from your risk money, depending on what's going on in the market. So there's a lot of moving parts to it. It's not just as simple as, hey, I'll just go in and take a withdrawal this year. There's a heck of a lot of planning that goes into it. And if you're already RMD eligible and you're working with an advisor who's not talking to you about efficiency, about the best place to take it from, that is a huge red flag. You want to make sure that you're taking it from the right place, because ultimately the goal is we want to make sure that people are not subject to run out of money, which is retirees' number one concern at the end of the day.
That makes sense. And Ozzy, I know that obviously your practice, you have a lot of high net worth clients. Do a lot of people come in and say, you know what, I really don't want to take my RMD, I don't need it. Can I donate that to charity? Do you ever have that as an option for your clients?
We do have a lot of our clients actually. What we see is they do not really need to take the required minimum distribution, which is the RMD. And there is a lot of ways to save that money and put, you know, into a works with other things like the charity. Like you said, like you can donate to charity and not affect your taxes. Yeah. That's one of the ways. But I was just, when Prashant was talking about the whole Secure Act and everything, there is a case just came in a couple weeks ago, and I saw this couple, and they did a Roth conversion, right? Which that's what we talk about with a lot of our clients. And the one mistake that I seen that what they did when they did the Roth conversion, they take the money out from their retirement account to pay the taxes. Which I really do not like it. Yes, you can do that one, but if you're thinking about that, you had $100,000 that you want to convert into a Roth. And what you want to do is you want to convert that $100,000 and pay the taxes from your bank account, which is doing nothing for you at this stage. And you want that 100 to grow tax deferred and everything tax free versus taking a $25,000 hit and you put $75,000. I think that's a big mistake that the people should definitely talk to a specialist about this.
Definitely. Ozzy, thank you so much. Prashant, I know that you and Ozzy have a very special offer to present today. Let's talk about what that is before we open up our call center.
Yeah, we do this every week. And so when we open up our phone lines, you'll have the opportunity to call into our call center. We have operators standing by. And when you call in, you'll be able to schedule a complimentary, it's 100% complimentary. You leave your checkbook at home. Appointment visit with Ozzy, myself, and our team at Elite Income Advisors. When you come in to visit with us, you'll get to sit down with a professional who will put together for you a Retire Smart roadmap. That's going to include things like an income for life plan, which will help you map out your income every year for the rest of your life. Consider taxes in retirement, consider inflation, and then of course do a portfolio analysis and stress test for you, which will allow you to understand how your portfolio is going to react in good markets, but perhaps more importantly, in really bad markets like we went through in 2022. So it starts with you picking picking up the phone. The phone number is 833-308-5200. If you call in, you'll be able to schedule that complimentary, no obligation visit with our team at our brand new offices in Ellicott City. That's our headquarter office.
Prashant, thank you so much. Ozzy, thank you. To our viewers at home, that number to call is on your screen. That number is 833-308-5200. We know that you have a lot of questions for Ozzy and Prashant about how to plan your perfect retirement. They have the opportunity for you to take advantage and call in to help them actually understand your situation and design their retirement roadmap for you. Again, we're going to take a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, I'm going to talk to Prashant and Ozzy a little bit about asset recovery. Stay tuned.
How confident are you in your current financial plan? Do you know with certainty how the recent market volatility will affect your future hopes and dreams? How much are you paying in taxes? And how much are you losing to unnecessary high fees? You didn't work to save this money so that you could spend your time worried in retirement. Now is the time to take charge of your finances so you can feel confident about your future. Call in during the next 30 minutes of today's show only to set up an absolutely complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review that will result in your own customized written plan. This is a $999 value that we're giving away complimentary to the first 10 people who respond. We'll start with a full-blown analysis of what you already have by running a report to untangle how much you are currently paying in fees, how you're allocated for risk, and what it's costing to work with your current advisor. Next, we'll identify your goals. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Where do you want to go? And who do you hope to go there with? Is your current financial plan set up to get you there without mishap? Let's design a roadmap to create a financial plan you can follow with confidence. Get the piece that so many people are missing from their retirement. Find out how having a written plan can make a difference to your retirement dreams. Call now to schedule your complimentary, no obligation, full-blown financial review today.
And welcome back to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia DeFazio, and I'm joined today by Prashant Sabapathi and Ozzy Culhagil of Elite Income Advisors. Gentlemen, we should also mention, obviously, that your call center is open right now, and people are answering the phones, but it's actually not your office. Ozzy, that is the way that it's going, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
It's not our office, it's the call center, the person that you are talking to, unfortunately not in the office at the moment, but when you do give out all the information, we will be giving you a call back.
All right, Ozzy, thank you for clarifying that. Prashant, I want to talk a little bit in this segment, if we could, about asset recovery. What exactly is that?
So we just went through 2022. It was a roller coaster year, to say the least, in the markets. At certain points in the year, we saw the S&P 500 go down by 25% top to bottom. We saw the NASDAQ exceed a 30% loss top to bottom. And so a lot of people are coming in, radio listeners, TV viewers, coming in to visit with us saying, I've lost $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 over the course of the year in 2022. And, you've probably been through that at different stages of your life. I think back to the dot-com crisis, but you were probably in your late 30s or maybe mid 40s at that point in time. And you're thinking, well, I'll just ride it out because I got plenty of time before I get to retirement, which in a lot of cases is the right thing to do. But now that we're 20 years down the road from then, you're probably a little bit closer to retirement. You probably understand that the more money we lose today makes it really difficult to recover in time to retire the way that you want to. Like in our office, we always say the losses hurt you more than gains help you the closer you get to retirement. Losses hurt more than gains help. And so if you've lost $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 over the course of 2022, we need to have a real plan in place for how we're going to potentially look at opportunities to recover some of those losses heading into 2023. Because what we can't afford to do is, once you're closer and closer to retirement, we don't want to see that trend line continuing downwards.
Yeah.
It's just going to take us too long to recover. And so, I'm not saying there's a plan out there that will, absolutely, recover all of your losses, but there are options out there where we can take a look at to really create a comprehensive plan to help you down that path so that you don't have to go through another year in 22 if 23 is kind of the same.
Sure, that makes sense. And Ozzy, wouldn't it also be beneficial to your clients to understand what exactly their risk tolerance is? Because I'm listening to Prashant talking, and I'm thinking that if you're taking more risk than what you realize, that's a recipe for disaster as you get older and up in years, if you will.
And most of the time, what I talk with the people is like what Prashant says, the losses and how much you need to recover, right? If you look at the numbers, when you do lose 10%, you need 11% to come back, which is not much, right? But what if you lose 50%?
Right.
You need 100% to come back. And that goes back to the original conversation. Do we have enough time to recover this? And the risk tolerance. When we talk about the people, which is a couple came in last week, and I look at their stuff and they say, well, we lost, 30%. And I say, so how do you feel? Well, I cannot take this anymore. But why did you lose 30%? Because they put their portfolio together 20 years ago and they never
looked at it.
They never looked at it. They never made any changes. And I tell the people I believe there is two different type of advisors.
Yeah.
One advisor is going to get you to all these years to accumulate as much as wealth you want. And the other advisor is going to help you how you're going to distribute that wealth at your retirement.
Right.
And we like to do the distribution phase of it because we specialize in the distribution side of the business, so we can get your stuff ready and you can retire comfortably.
I love that Ozzy just brought that up because obviously that is such a different thing to talk about. Someone who specializes in the accumulation phase of life versus distribution. Prashant, when should someone start considering that maybe they need a switch?
So you should seriously start thinking about distribution when you're about 50 years old. Okay. It doesn't necessarily mean that you need to completely make the change from accumulating to distributing at 50 years old, because you still might be 10 or 15 years away from retirement. But I go back to what I saw in the early 2000s, right? So if you look at the year 2000, that was the dot-com bubble crisis, whatever you want to call it. And then we went through a downturn in the market. We went through a rally back, and then we went through 2008, which I'm sure a lot of our folks probably remember. And it wasn't until about March of 2013 that the S&P 500 recaptured its previous market high, which we saw in 2000. So it was like a 12 and a half year period of time where I think the average rate of return, don't quote me on this, but it was somewhere around 1 or maybe 2% on the S&P 500. Well, the fact is, you can't afford when you're into retirement to go 12 and a half years pretty much earning nothing on your money, especially when inflation is at 6, 7, 8% per year, right? And so when people are thinking about this idea of accumulation versus distribution, you have to at least start thinking about it when you're 50, 55 years old. Not that you need to make total wholesale changes, but what if we're at the beginning of another 12-year stretch where the S&P 500 does not return the type of returns that we're used to over the last decade? If that happens to you, are you going to be able to retire the way that you want to, right? Are you going to have enough income to live the way that you want to do all the things that make retirement so fulfilling to you? If we go through that again and you're not prepared, then that is a huge red flag. If you're working with an advisor and they're not talking to you about the distribution phase of your lifetime, it may be time to look for a true specialist in that area.
Thank you so much. Well, Prashant, I know that you and Ozzy have a very special offer to present. Let's talk about what that is before we go back to the call center.
Yeah, so number one, I got a lot of people asking about the book lately. I know that we've both been hearing that. So if you want a complimentary copy of the book, it's Fiscal Health, Retirement Wealth. We are actually giving it away totally complimentary to anybody that visits retiremaryland.com. You can also scan the QR code with your cell phone. That's right here on the screen. You'll go to the landing page, answer a couple questions, and we will put a book in the mail to you. It's totally complimentary, no obligation. If you want to come in and actually visit with us to put together an actual Retire Smart roadmap, just dial into the phone number. That phone number is 833-308-5200. When you come in to visit with us, we'll get to know you, you'll get to know us, and we'll figure out whether or not we're the right fit to work together. But more importantly, we're going to help you put together a series of reports that'll help you understand whether or not you are retirement ready. And that's going to be an income plan, a risk report, Social Security optimization plan, and even a little bit of a tax strategy report to help you understand what your taxes may look like in retirement. All of that is totally complimentary. It starts with a phone call. It's 833-308-5200. Call now.
Prashant, thank you so much. Ozzy, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call is on your screen, 833-308-5200. Or if you have your smartphone handy, go ahead, grab it. Click on that QR code in the bottom corner of your screen. That's going to take you to retiremaryland.com. And again, you're not going to want to miss a copy of this wonderful book, Fiscal Health, Retirement Wealth. We're going to take a very short commercial break, but don't go anywhere. When we come back, I want to talk to Prashant and Ozzy about lump sum pensions. Stay tuned for their response.
As a good saver, you've been putting away money during your working years. Studies find that the biggest fear of retirees is running out of money. Market volatility isn't just the downward movement of stock prices, it's the size and frequency of change. The more dramatic the ups and downs, the higher the volatility. This can put savers who are newly retired or a few years away from being retired at greater risk. Today's generation of retirees is not receiving traditional pensions as our parents or grandparents did. Instead, we have retirement accounts such as 401ks or 403bs. These accounts typically expose your money to market risk. The last thing you want right before retirement is to lose a portion of the money you need for income. But how do you turn these accounts into a retirement income? Is it safe to keep all your retirement money sitting in the stock market? The last thing you want is to lose a portion of the money you need for income due to market loss. By working with a financial professional, you can learn how to turn a portion of your savings into an income stream for life and income for the life of your spouse if you're married. We all have moments in our lives when we wish we had taken action sooner. Don't let procrastination reign on your retirement parade. Act now before it's too late. Please call our office to set up your no-cost, no-obligation retirement income review today.
And welcome back to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia DeFazio. I'm joined today by Prashant Sabapathi and Ozzy Culhagil of Elite Income Advisors. Gentlemen, a wonderful show we're having today talking about such important topics surrounding retirement, of course. This next topic, though, we're hearing a lot of conversation about this from people, the lump sum pension options. Prashant, how does someone know they should take the lump sum or not?
It's a pretty big decision. It's actually one of the biggest decisions you'll probably make as you head to retirement. If your employer offers you a pension, you're probably going to have the option to take an annuity through the company or to capture a lump sum. Okay, so lump sum could be several $100,000, even into $1 million range. And so that allows you the opportunity to potentially take control of your money as you get into retirement. So there's two or three very important things to consider when you're figuring out whether or not to take the lump sum. Number one is understanding the beneficiary arrangement. So if you leave that money with your employer, you have to look into how that money would pass on if you were to pass away. And what we found is that for a lot of folks, you might be able to create an income for your spouse, but that money doesn't actually, in a lot of cases, go to your kids if you leave the money with your employer. So one of the benefits of taking a lump sum pension is you can now take that pension and roll it over into your own individual retirement account.
Wow.
And by it being an individual retirement account, it's your money now. It's not linked to the employer, it's yours, which means that if you can use it while you're retired, but more importantly, if you pass away, you can then transfer whatever that balance is to your beneficiaries. It's a huge deal because, look, you've probably worked 30 or 40, 45 years to accumulate this fantastic pension. You don't want to see all of that hard work evaporate in just a second by not selecting the appropriate option. So there's several things to consider. The first thing that comes to my mind is beneficiaries on that one.
Yeah, definitely. I should also dive in a little bit further. What about the tax implications if you take the lump sum? Is there a difference with that, Ozzy?
There is no tax implications. It's
Okay.
the same like the 401k, right? Where you work at your employers, and when you're done with your employment, when you retire, you take your 401k and roll into an IRA. And this is not a tax situation. Never creates a taxable event. The same thing with the pension. The pensions are the same, works like the 401k. You just take the lump sum pension, like Prashant says, put it into your own individual retirement accounts. Then you try to create your own pension by yourself.
Okay, I love that. It sounds fantastic.
Yep.
Well, Prashant, I should ask you, obviously, we've talked about this in the past. If someone's at home right now and they think that they're doing okay, but they're not sure, how important is it to have a second opinion from a fresh set of eyes?
So if you were going in for major surgery, would you just listen to only one doctor, especially if you weren't sure if that advice was the right advice? I mean, how often do we go get a second opinion in the medical world, right?
Yeah.
We get second opinions. When you go to shop for the latest new TV or whatever, or the best new car, what are you doing? When you go to buy a car, are you going in and test driving like 2 or 3 different cars? Are you just going in and buying the first thing that you see?
Right.
And so why is your retirement any different, right? If you've been working with the same person for 20 or 30 years, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, we have so many people that are do-it-yourselfers, doesn't it make sense to get a second opinion on what you're doing? Maybe you come in for that second opinion and everything looks exactly like you thought it should. And if that's the case, then great. You came in, it was complimentary, doesn't cost you anything, and you leave our office saying, fantastic, I'm in great shape. But maybe if you come in, we'll be able to identify for you 1, 2, 3, any number of different red flags that maybe you haven't thought about. And if that's the case, this is a great opportunity to call in and schedule that visit with us. It's 833-308-5200. Or if you're just getting started with the process and you're not sure where to start, visit retiremaryland.com. We're going to give you a complimentary copy of Fiscal Health and Retirement Wealth. We also have a complimentary ebook in there as well called Preparing for a Satisfying Retirement. It's a great way to kind of dip your toes in, get started with the process, and that's going to allow you to be educated to make the proper decisions for yourself. So I know we're running out of time on today's show. Call in, folks. It's 833-308-5200. When you call in, you'll be able to schedule that visit with Ozzy, myself, and our team at Elite Income Advisors. And when you come in to visit with us, we're going to take you through that Retire Smart process, which is going to allow you the opportunity to have a real Retire Smart roadmap, which will help you coordinate your income, look at your taxes, evaluate your risk, and make sure that your retirement is as bulletproof as possible in the face of however many different adversarial type of things that are out there currently.
Prashant, thank you. Ozzy, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, thank you for spending time with us today. Be safe, be happy, be blessed, and we'll see you back 1 week on Retire Smart Maryland.